Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. So I wanted to talk about my reading goals for 2025, my anticipated reads and my anticipated releases for 2025. So I'm going to jump straight into it. So my goals for this year are to read 25 books. I feel like this is a good number. I'd rather set it lower, and then if I read more then that's brilliant. If I don't, then like I've still reached my goal, if that makes sense. Last year I read 39 and my goal was 21. And since like I've got my Kindle, I've definitely been reading a lot more books each year. So I feel like 25 is a good number. And then within that 25, I want to read 5 non-fiction books. I do have a few books in mind for this that I actually forgot to write on my list on my laptop, but off the top of my head there was Working Hard, Hardly Working by Grace Beverley, Infinite Receiving by Susie Ashworth, and I'm actually reading this right now, and then Rich as Fuck by I think it's Amanda Francis. I'm not entirely sure, I'm going completely off of memory here. There's one more that is going to be on the anticipated releases section of the video. And then we've got The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. This is, I don't know if it's a memoir or autobiography or something along that line. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it is a non-fiction book. And this just came out, I think, maybe a week ago. And I'm so excited for this because I used to watch 8 Passengers. So with everything that went on with them and Ruby Frankie, was it last year or the year before? I'm not entirely sure. I think it was towards the end of 2023, but with everything that went on then, obviously a lot came out, so I was very intrigued to read Sherry's book, so I got to get my hands on that. And then I think that's it for my non-fiction, other than that one that I will talk about in the anticipated releases section. And then I'm going to get onto my anticipated reads. So these are just books that either I already have or they're just books that are already published that I do want to read, if that makes sense. So first up we have Beartown. I have been wanting to read a book by this author for a little while, and I know he wrote A Man Called Ove, and a lot of people that I know have been talking about that film recently because it came onto Netflix in the UK. The film's called A Man Called Otto, and I wanted to read that book, but I was also like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm not going to do descriptions or anything of any of these books because I will do that when I do any reading wrap-ups or in videos where I talk about these books. I'll actually talk about what they're about. Next up we have The Inheritance Games. I was never really that interested in reading this book, and then I, for some reason, decided that actually I do want to read it this year. Don't know why, but I'm gonna do it. I am quite excited for this one. And then next up we have Collide. I feel like this is kind of giving me Icebreaker vibes. I love the cover of this. It is definitely what caught my eye. It's been on my list for a little while. The next one is one I started the other day, so I do actually have that, and that is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I actually won this in a giveaway from the works, which I loved. So yeah, I'm not very far in to this one, but I'm enjoying it so far. But I've never read a bad Elsie Silver book, so I'm sure I will like this. And then we have another Elsie Silver book, and that is Powerless. That is the 3rd one in the Chestnut Springs series, so it's a different series to this one, which is the Rose Hill series. I'm really excited to read Powerless because, again, I've never read a bad Elsie Silver book, and I really want to read all of Chestnut Springs and keep up with the Rose Hill series. And I would really like to read her old series, like one of her first series I think it is that she did. I do really want to read that as well, but I think I want to finish Chestnut Springs first. And then next up we have another book that I already have, and that is Love Theoretically. I've had this on my shelf for about 9 months now, and I've wanted it for ages, like since I started reading Ali Hazelwood. I think this came out after I started reading Ali Hazelwood, but either way, I've wanted it for as long as it's been a thing. And I'm hoping that this year is the year that I actually read this. And then next up we have Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I actually went to get this the other day because it's been on my list for a little while. I went to go and get it and something told me to check to see whether it was written in third person, and I realised that it was. So that did put me off, but I decided that what I'm gonna do is download the sample on my Kindle, read that, and then if I like it I'll go and get the physical copy because I really do want it, plus the cover is beautiful. And I was like intrigued by the book. I just need to see if I'll get past the whole third person thing because it definitely does put me off of a book. And then next up we have Hooked. I'm very excited for this one. I loved Hook in Once Upon a Time. I never finished the show, but I did love Hook, so I thought that this might be a good series because the author came up on my Instagram reels and I started following her and I was like, oh, actually I should give this a go. And then we have Anatomy. I saw Rachel Catherine talk about ages ago, and like the way she explained the book, it just made me really intrigued for it, so I really want to read this one this year as well. And then my other two reading goals that I have for this year is to read one more book by Hannah Bonam-Young, and it might be Next of Kin, or it might be a book that I'll talk about in a minute, but I really have Next of Kin. I have Next to You as well, so they're like I think it's the interconnected standalones. I'm not 100% sure, but the premise of this book is just really exciting to me. And then the other reading goal that I have for this year is to read a book by Abby Jimenez. I have seen everyone and their dog talk about Just for the Summer, and I really want to read it, but it is the third book in what I believe is an interconnected standalone series, and I have seen people talk about it, say, you know, you can read it without reading the other ones. I think I want to just start the series from the beginning and read the other two just for, you know, context and stuff. So I think I'm going to start off with, I think it's called Part of Your World. On to my anticipated releases. So these are in order of when they're being published as well. So the first book is another Hannah Bonam-Young book. So I'll either read Next of Kin or Out of the Woods, or hopefully I'll read both, but I don't want to like get my hopes up to read both and then not get around to reading both, if that makes sense. So Out of the Woods, I'm really excited for this. So the two main characters in this book are, I think they're like the main character's best friends or sister in Out on a Limb. I can't really remember, but either way you meet them in Out on a Limb, and then this is like their book later on, which I'm really excited about, and the cover is beautiful as well, and the works are doing a sprayed edges special edition, so I really want to get that as well because it just looks beautiful. Out of the Woods it's being published on the 28th of January, and when I looked at the works post about their sprayed edges it said the 30th of January, so I don't know whether it's like coming out later or that was a mistake, I'm not entirely sure. And then we have another Ali Hazelwood book, obviously, because she's been publishing a lot of books, and that is Deep End, which comes out on the 4th of February. I'm really excited for this because I will just pick up literally anything that she publishes. I have all of her books so far and I plan to keep it that way, and I'm hoping that I'll get to read that and Love Theoretically this year. And then we have coming out on the 27th of February, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. So this book is already published, however it's only published as an ebook or a hardback, and I really wanted to get the paperback for this because I have the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series already, and I really struggle to actually read hardbacks. I find them hard to hold. I find all books kind of difficult to hold and read comfortably, so I do have, since I got my Kindle, started like limiting what books I get the physical copies for. Either way, I knew I wanted the paperback edition of this, but I'm really excited for this because I love Holly Jackson's writing. And then next up on the 4th of March, we have Wild Side, which is the third book in the Rose Hill series. So it's the book that comes after this one, which is another reason why I'm reading this now, because I kind of want to read Wild Side when it comes out, or at least have the option to, because I've already read this. And then we have on April 8th, we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts, which is the third and final book in the Powerless trilogy. And I'm so excited for this. I think this is my most anticipated release of the year. And then the last book is my other non-fiction book that I do want to read this year, and that is Aligned Abundance by Emma Mumford. This either comes out on the 8th of April or the 28th of April. I can't remember which one it is. But I really am excited for this one because I just feel so drawn to it. I feel like it's a book that I need to read, and that is my 2025 reading goals, anticipated releases and anticipated reads for the year. But yeah, I hope it's a good reading year, and comment what your most anticipated read or releases or your reading goals for this year. But yeah, I will see you guys soon.